This path will lead you to an unholy place. A cemetery.
Hey everybody, welcome to my abode. I thought I'd do something a little bit different. For those that don't know, over here in New Zealand, we're in lockdown. We're in level 3 lockdown, so we can't really leave the house. We can't really get out and do things. And so the team, well, we can't go out and do investigations. So, and today being National Ghost Hunting Day, annual Ghost Hunting Day, which is on the last Saturday of every September, and we can't go out. We can't go out and investigate. So I thought, well, instead of sitting at home doing nothing, I thought maybe I'll show you my room. We have a little room here that we put all our objects in that have been passed on to us from fearful families. There's people that want these objects out of their house. They claim that they're haunted. They claim that they're cursed. They claim that they're doing things that they shouldn't be doing. So they ask if I would like them, and I say, sure. Why wouldn't I? So here I am, a 53-year-old man with a doll collection. It's kind of weird, I guess, but they're allegedly haunted. So I think that's kind of cool. So I have them locked up in this room. I have this room that is closed up all the time. I have 24-hour surveillance. I have cameras all over the place. I'll show you what the cameras are. Over there, on there. We have cameras monitoring all the objects in this room. We have data logging gadgets as well that are turned on from time to time, and I go through a lot of batteries with those. But it's all in the name of science. So yeah, I thought a lot of people have been asking, about this haunted room, this mysterious haunted room, and it's just a tiny little bedroom, single bedroom in my house that I've managed to jam as much as I can in. Ideally, the plan is to one day open up a small museum somewhere, or have a museum space for haunted objects or unusual objects. So if anybody knows of any historical buildings anywhere, any museums, hotels, anything really that has a bit of history to it itself, that I could put some display cabinets in and actually display these objects for the public to see, I'd be really keen on that, because it's something that I'd like to do. Apparently it's got to happen before I die as well, because I've told Sam for the team that when I die, he's going to get a lot of this shit, so he'll be in charge of the museum. So yeah, we need to make it happen. So if you know of any places, any hotels that have a spare room, spare basement, a spare lobby that would like to have a haunted display area, let me know. Let me know, because I'm keen to do that. It needs to be better. I want these things to be displayed with a bit more respect and a bit more dignity, I think, because a lot of these items are given to me, and a lot of the claims that come with them are that they have spirit attachments of children, of mothers and fathers and things like that. So I really want to display them with respect and display them properly so they can be appreciated. That's the main plan anyway. So yeah, what I want to do before I start showing you around, I can't show you every item. There's just too many items here, but I'll give you a brief rundown. And a lot of the items don't have stories. Some of them do have stories, so I can tell you those. And I'll try and answer a few questions. You can ask me questions about my team as well if you want, and I'm hoping some of the team will jump on at some stage. And oh, Amy's online. Cool. And they can maybe help answer a few questions as well. A lot of the team haven't actually been in this room yet, so they haven't seen the items. So I'm hoping to get them around after lockdown and they can have a nosy through everything. Yeah. So yeah. But anyway, first off, a disclaimer. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that any of these objects are actually haunted. Why? Because I haven't actually seen anything for myself. the items are in this room purely for my own research to see if anything does happen. And if anything does happen, well, great, I've got cameras and things like that recording, so hopefully I'll capture something. If the idea of spirit attachments and haunted objects is a reality, then hopefully this is the place it'll happen. So I'm not going to claim that any of this is paranormal, so please don't quote me on that and say that Mark says that this doll is haunted, because I'm not. I've got no, I mean, we've heard the odd scuffle in here. We've heard shuffling sounds, things like that. But when I come into the room, nothing appears to be moved. But then again, there are things all over the place that I wouldn't really be able to tell anyway. So it's not really set up as a controlled environment for proper research. But it is what it is, you know. And one day, hopefully, you'll be able to do something a bit better. So yeah, I'll show you around. I haven't got anything planned. This is totally off the cuff. I only decided this morning actually that I would do this, and it's only because we didn't have anything, and I really felt bad because, you know, it's been so long since we've had an investigation, and I know the team are hanging out for it, and we're all getting very scratchy now, and we really want to get out there, and we've got so many locations lined up. We've got, since the lockdowns happened, we've had locations approaching us. You know, stuff is starting to happen. Maybe the spooks are getting itchy as well, and they want to get out there and meet people. So who knows? But things are happening. So we've got a good 10 locations now that we can go either back to or visit for the first time, or and some really good ones in there too. So I'm looking forward to that. So hopefully this lockdown doesn't last much longer. Hey, Amy. I know she's scratching for an investigation. Hey, Tess. Hey, Mark. Alice. Rochelle. Peter Humphrey. Hey. There's a lot of people here. So, hey, Barbara. Adam. Hey, Adam. Oh, Adam, mate. Long time no see, man. This is what I'm doing now. Adam's an old friend from a goth scene back in the day. So yeah, I'm going to show you a few things. I've got nothing planned. I've just got a few backstories here and there that I'll tell you about. And I'm just going to use the webcam from my laptop to do that. So, hey, Vicky. I'm just going to use this webcam, so I'll just lift this up. It's pretty budget, pretty shoddy film work, okay? But I'm going to do the best I can, and hopefully we'll fill in an hour or so. I'm not going to do it for too long. I mean, I've got enough stuff here to possibly jabber on for hours, but I won't. Maybe I'll do a part 2, who knows. But anyway, we've got this webcam. I'm going to take you around. I'll just give you a quick scan round. This is just some of the stuff I have. Any better? Oh, I don't know. So it's an odd room. It's actually the coldest room in the house. It's icy cold. You come in here, and it's just icy cold. It's really weird. Whether that's anything to do with the haunted objects, I don't know, but it's very unusually cold. But anyway, I'm gonna just do a quick scan. Now, a lot of these things, there are things in here that I've bought myself because I'm a bit of a horror freak, and so I collect horror props and bits and pieces. You can see I've got a few musical instruments here. I'm also a bit of an electronic muso, so I've got old synthesizers and drum machines and bits and pieces. Drum machine down there with some hands on it. But there's a lot of interesting things here. I will. Where's the computer? The computer within a computer within a computer. And here's my books. I've got a lot of things in. I don't know if you can see this. Tiny little room. So sorry. Oops. Things over. Okay. This is some of my books. It's great filmwork, isn't it? There you go. There's just some of my books. I've got quite a few crates of other books elsewhere, and there. So a lot of just random toys that I like. I like scary, spooky toys and things like that. So it's not all doom and gloom and dead things. But I have got a lot of skulls. Some of you may have seen that clown up there. Had a few investigations. We've used him as a trigger object a few times at the old school in Paranormal. Skulls. Some bird parts and animals, and I'll take you through these items. The coffin lid at the back there. Sort of ritual items up there. I can do a better video later on sometime. Yeah, slow things down. I've got lots of bones and teeth and lots of body parts and things. See jars with bones in them, and I've got lots of jars with bones. Skulls of all different sizes. Yeah. Ouija boards. I've got quite a few Ouija boards. Well, I've got a few boxes of Ouija boards stored away. Yeah. What I might start doing then is, did you see anything that you liked that you wanted a backstory on? Sorry, I haven't been there. Yes, Diane, I do get sent haunted objects. Well, allegedly haunted objects. A lot of people they know what I do, and so they contact me through the site or in private message and just say, hey, look, would you be interested in taking this off our hands? Things are happening in the house and we think it's something to do with the doll or this item, can you take it, or else we're just going to destroy it? And I hate to see things being destroyed. To me, all these little dolls, I'm not a doll collector really. These are just the ones I've got. I've got a couple more in boxes, but to me, it's the stories. I love the stories. I love the stories that come with these dolls. The previous owners, they're quite fearful of these dolls, and the stories they tell me are quite amazing, really. And it's almost like these dolls have personalities and have taken on the personalities of certain family members. So I just haven't got the heart to get rid of them. I just haven't got the heart to say no, because if I know that these dolls are going to be destroyed by fearful families, I'd rather just take them and give them a home. I'm an adopted boy myself. Excuse me. I was adopted myself. So I like the idea of, adopting another potential person that hasn't got a home or is unwanted. So yeah, that's just the way I look at it. Okay, I'm just sort of scanning through some of these. Sorry, as I said, this is not scripted, not planned. It's just totally off the cuff. What I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a few items, and I'll just put this up here. Right, that's not too bad. Okay, Kendall asks, excuse me. No. This room does have an odd effect on me. I must admit that. Other than being cold, very cold, it just has a weird sort of vibe to it. And as you can see, I do get quite dry in the mouth. And I've found, I mean, I do all my live feeds from here whenever I do a Zoom chat with other teams around the world and stuff like that. I get quite dry in the throat, and I don't know if it's just the talking and maybe the cold. I really don't know, but I don't get it anywhere else in this house. So it's, yeah. Again, I don't know if it's anything related, or but it's just another little interesting thing. Kendall asked about my favourite item. I don't really have a favourite item. Not really a favourite. They're all my favourites. I kind of love them all the same, and they're all my little children. Even I've got a few weird ones, kind of odd ones. Actually, while I see it now, some of you may have seen an investigation we did of Puanui Homestead, which is an old homestead which is situated in the Halleck Historical Village out in East Auckland, and we had an incident with a torch that was apparently thrown down the stairs, and we've got a video of that on our YouTube page, so go check that out. It's during the Puanui Project Puanui, and it's the session 1. It's one that I did by myself. I was completely alone in the house, and this was the torch that got thrown down the stairs. It's just that. As you can see, it's just a flat torch. There we go. Just a flat torch, very basic. It's got batteries in it still. All right. No batteries. Oh, there we go. A little bit of battery power there. And the story behind that was it was just a last minute thought. There was a chair at the very top stairs of a spiraling staircase. I thought I'd put this torch on top of the stairs. It's just flat, it doesn't roll. And I thought maybe a spirit or whatever's in the house might be able to push the button and turn the light off or on. And I had a camera positioned downstairs on a tripod, but I figured, well, if the torch goes off, the camera downstairs might record the light going off from upstairs. But it got thrown down the stairs. And if you've ever been to Puanui Homestead, you'll know that it's no easy feat to get this off a chair and then down 2 flights of stairs down to the bottom, just by itself. So we couldn't explain that. So this torch has been well abused. So that's the torch. Where am I? I'm in Auckland, New Zealand, Anne. Auckland, New Zealand. This is a room in my house that I keep all the items that have been passed on to us from families living in fear that are telling me that these things are haunted, and I haven't got the heart to say no. I'm a bit of a sucker, really, and so yeah. I will point out a couple there. This is one of the recent ones that I just discovered. Actually, it's an odd one. I did post about it. This one here, this weird little doll, this odd little face. I've been doing a bit of research. A few people saw my post and gave me a few tips, so I've been checking him out. He's quite a popular doll back in the day, 1980s, I think it was, 1985 or something. Quite a popular doll. This was given to me by a young woman who had it in her family. She was given to her as a young child. She was a young woman now, and she said that it would start making noises and singing. Apparently it talks. I have never heard one talk, so I don't know what they sound like, but she said it talked, and it sounded like the batteries were running out. It had a very deep voice, and she was freaking out and da-da-da. And yeah, so she gave it to me, and apparently it was passed on from somebody else. Apparently somebody got it from a garage sale, or I think it was from a market or something, a market or garage sale. She got it. It was in pretty good condition back in the day when she got it, and yeah, it would talk. The cable itself has a little, as you can see, nothing works. There's no voice. It's broken. During the lockdown, I decided I'd try to go out fixing it, see if I could fix the voice box, see if I could get it going again. I thought maybe I could fix it. So I undid her little backside there, and pulled away all the foam rubber to get to the box. There's a big box in there which has the mechanism for talking. Inside the stuffing is where I found this very old note inside the stuffing. And of course, I have lost contact with the original owner that gave this to me. So if you're watching this, please get in contact, because I don't know if you know about this. But this was inside the doll. Very old note. See that word. You read that? Leave me alone. Yeah, that was inside this. Yeah, go on, Barbara. Good one. Yeah, nice. Got the same hairline as me. Yeah, screenshot. Yeah. So that was tucked in there. So if the young woman that gave me this and was having issues with it, she sees this, please get in contact, because I'd like to know more about that note. It's quite intriguing. I haven't been able to fix it yet. So there's that. What else? This one here. This is an interesting one. Quite interesting. It's just an old organ. It's an old organ. Now this was passed on to me by a young man whose parents, elderly parents, had a house in Mount Albert, I think it was. And in the middle of the night, they would hear music being played in the house, like little tunes being played, and they didn't know where it was coming from. And they discovered it was about 2 or 3 in the morning. Often once or twice a week, they would wake up to the sound of music, and it would just go for a few seconds, and then it would stop. But just enough to know that there was music coming from somewhere in the house. And then they found out it was coming from underneath the house. So they got their son-in-law to crawl around underneath the house, and he found a box, and it was full of old newspapers and bits and pieces and bottles and things. And this old keyboard was in that box. I've done some research on it. It's pretty much just a basic old organ that came out in the 80s. Nothing too special. Very cheaply made. Thing is though, it didn't have batteries in it. I put batteries in it to test it. That's what the batteries meant. It was empty. There were no batteries in it at all. I've since put batteries in it. Things like that. I was hearing sound. I'm hearing little tunes from underneath the house. No batteries. So yeah, the son-in-law decided to get rid of it, and he's a follower of ours, so he may be seeing this video right now. He may be watching. Hey man, thanks for this. So he passed it on to us, and I put some batteries in it, and it works. But without batteries, it doesn't seem to work. But they were hearing tunes coming from it, so I thought that was quite fascinating. Little interesting things like that. So attachments, spirit attachments. It doesn't have to be all about dolls, creepy dolls. It can be musical instruments as well, apparently. I've just been trying to clean up this room because it's a bit of a mess. I had stuff all over the floor. I had to move a lot of stuff out into the hallway, so the wife's not very happy about that. But there were a lot of things. I was sort of digging up old bits and pieces of my old paranormal investigation equipment that I used to use back in the 80s and all that. This is an interesting thing I found that I'd forgotten all about, actually. I'll just move it around there. My old oscilloscope. Where are we? There we go. My old oscilloscope. I used to use that back in the early 80s. It was my first real gadget, really. It's quite neat. I'm sure it still works. I must pull it out and try and utilize it in investigations, but it was quite neat. was my first sort of, I don't know, EMF meter, I guess. I guess you can call it that. Yeah, so that's a neat little find. What else we got here? Well, this couple here, this is an interesting little couple. This couple here, a couple of marionette puppets. Yeah, a couple of marionette puppets there. They were given to me by a guy who said that they wanted them out of the house because they kept fighting. And they said oftentimes they would come into the room where they were hanging and they would be swaying around together and actually all tangled up together, and almost like they were fighting, and there'd be no breeze or draft in the house, but these things were swaying around and having a bit of a fit, really. So it's very unnerving for the family, so they wanted them gone. They assume that they're haunted. I don't know if they're haunted. See that? I will take better photos, but I've never seen these things dance around or do anything unusual. But it was enough for somebody to pass them on to me. I'm quite grateful to that. What else we got here? This little girl here. This one is she's quite special. This one. This one's quite special. This little one right here. This one here apparently has the spirit of an old woman, and she's Scottish. And I am trying to get her back home to Scotland because we think that she's missing. She's very homesick for Scotland. The story behind that one was there was a young couple from Scotland, and they moved to New Zealand, and they were living here. They left the mother back over in Scotland, and she got really quite unwell and sick. She ended up being in a wheelchair and was very unwell and couldn't fend for herself. She was she had home care and all that sort of stuff, and she became very bitter at the world, very grumpy, very unhappy woman, very negative, and so the family decided to move the mother from Scotland to New Zealand, where they lived with them. She lived with the family, and the mother became very, very agitated, very, very abusive, and just very frustrated at being crippled and not being able to do the things that she wanted to. And she hated being a burden. So, the mother basically wanted to go back to Scotland. She missed Scotland, and was very unhappy in New Zealand, very unhappy. So she died. When she died, this doll got put into a drawer and was just forgotten about for a little bit until things started to go terribly wrong, and the family started to get quite stressed and quite bitter at each other, and a lot of angst and emotion started to rile up, and there was this nasty bitterness that sort of came over the whole family, and it was that same kind of bitterness that they recognised from the mother-in-law, so the kind of resentment and self-pity and all that sort of stuff. And so the family were fighting quite a bit. And so apparently the doll got taken out of the drawer, put on a shelf, and then it kept moving around. It kept moving around the place. It would move from room to room and stuff like this. One of the daughters apparently saw it move at one time, picked it up and threw it across the room because it frightened her. So this doll now she's got a smashed, she's made porcelain or something inside. So she's actually broken place here. I can see that. She's actually smashed inside. Got smashed around her neck, and her arms are broken, and she's got a lot of broken pieces in her. So we think that this woman is the mother, and she's just homesick. She wants to go back to Scotland. So my big plan is next time I go back to Scotland, I've been a couple of times now, and I'm really keen to go back. I'm going to take this one with me, take her back to Scotland. I know a paranormal team over there that will look after her. So I want to take her back home. I think she needs to be back at home where she belongs. So that's my little story about that one. This one beside, this is another one that got smashed down. I'll just sort of, this is a bit rough. This one here is another one that got broken as well. There's that, I might just start professional. Okay, this one here, for those who love clowns. This one here also got thrown against the wall by somebody living in fear. He's got a broken finger there. It's from being smashed against the wall out of fear. And this was another one of our followers that wanted this out of the house. She was terrified of it and just wanted it gone. Not much of a backstory, just that she was terrified of it and wanted it gone. And that's enough for me, really. I quite like clowns. So I've got a few objects like that have been passed on with not much backstory, just the fact that the family didn't like it there. There was something about it. They just wanted it gone. They wanted it gone from their lives. I guess one of the most special dolls I have is one I picked up while on holiday from an old hospice, actually. This one here, this one has a very special story. And this elderly lady at the hospice told me the story about this one. She's from Edwinstowe, over in the UK, and I've named her Edwina. And it was we had a bit of a competition on the Facebook page for our followers, and they named her Edwina because she came from Edwinstowe, and Edwinstowe was by Nottingham, close to Nottingham, not too far from Sherwood Forest, just a little town. And the story I was told by the old elderly woman that worked there was that this little doll has been in the shop for many years. Nobody wanted it. And I saw it at the bottom of a display case, and all I saw was just the top of the head. That's all I saw. And there was something about it that sort of made me ask about, what is that? What's that about? And they said that it came from a little girl, and this little girl had cancer, and all her hair fell out. So the parents bought her this doll. They had it custom made. She's hand painted. It's all hand painted. Some amazing detail there. Some quite good detail there. Oh, there we go. It said Edwina, and they wanted to give her a little doll to play with that had no hair, just like her. So she was all custom made. All the stitching was all made, and apparently I've even got some wigs. She even comes with wigs, so the girl could play with her properly. I think it's quite cute. It's awkward. It's really good ring that time. Yeah, so there's like this little wigs that come with it, so that the girl can play dress ups with her doll, which I thought was quite sweet. Yeah, so that's Edwina. So yeah, the woman at the hospice, she just gave them to her. I didn't even say who I was. It's just that the fact that I was caring enough, I guess, to ask about her, that I guess she saw some sort of connection, and she just let me have it, which was quite nice. I gave them a £5 donation to the hospice, but she let me have it. I don't know what price she had on it, but yeah, it was a nice thing to bring home, and I like the idea of being able to give this person a new home. There's another couple of dolls I've got. I won't that I sort of rescued. They were in an old abandoned, burnt out house. Don't know if they're haunted or not, probably, but they were together. These two dolls here. There's one there. This one here, with the red hair, and the one at the back. One there. They were in an old house that I was photographing. I was doing a little bit of exploration, and I was photographing old burnt out farmhouse. The whole house was pretty much gone. It was all completely burnt out. There was nothing left. It was just a ruin pretty much on the side of the road. And I sort of had a wander through, and I was taking photographs of old burnt out wood and stuff like that, and just the remnants. And I found this old little shed, a tiny little shed about the size of an old outhouse. And there's just an old tin shed. I opened it up and had a look inside. Everything was burnt. The heat had got to the shed. The steel had obviously heated up, and everything inside had burnt inside. But there was a little steel chest. There was a steel metal sort of chest in the corner. Everything around it was completely gone, rotting, mouldy. I opened this chest up, and there inside an old sack bag were these two dolls. And you could tell that they just started to be affected by the heat. They just started to melt a little bit, and a little bit singed from the sheer heat of the house burning down. But they survived. I think they're the only things that survived in that whole house fire. So I thought, I can't leave these girls here. So I decided to just take them home and give them a house and give them a roof over their heads and adopt them. And they seemed quite happy. They're smiling. Bit of a smile there. And there's this one here. This one's, I don't know if it's haunted or not either. But it turned up at our letterbox. I came home from work one day, and this little thing, well, she's quite big actually, she's about a metre high. This one here was sitting at our letterbox. She's just sitting there. Now we live down a cul-de-sac, and we don't have any children down our street at all. Well, there wasn't at the time, there are now, but there wasn't at the time. So yeah, she was just there. So I put flyers around our neighbourhood saying, "Does anybody seen this? Does anybody know who owns this doll?" Had no replies. Our neighbours didn't know who she belonged to. So she just appeared out of nowhere. So again, I brought her inside and given her a home. Whether she's haunted, I don't know. I have no idea. And also get other things like Ouija boards. I got a lot of Ouija boards here too. I've got about 20-something Ouija boards now. This one up here is my oldest Ouija board. See that? It's about 120 years old or so. On there, that was given to me by a family living in Fair. This woman had bought it from an old op shop many years ago and took it home for the daughters, thinking that the daughters might like it. And the daughters were freaking out and just didn't like it. They didn't want it in the house. They were just, they'd heard the stories and didn't like them. And so she put it in the boot of the car, just the boot of the family car, thinking that she'll just throw it away at some point. It got covered up with papers and bits and pieces through the years. And it wasn't until a few years ago that she was just sort of cleaning out the car to get it ready for selling. She lifted up an old mat and she found the Ouija board again. So she contacted me and said, "Hey, I found this. My family don't want it. So do you want it?" And I thought, hell yeah. So that was a great score, that one. I've got quite a few other Ouija boards as well. I'll show you these. These boxes here have Ouija boards in them as well. There's a few Ouija boards there. I've got quite a few containers and boxes full of haunted objects and ritual objects and things that I just can't fit anywhere. Sorry about the moving around. It's anybody getting motion sickness yet? So yeah, there's. I'll take you through some of the Ouija boards I've got here. What's that one there? That was a psychic circle. A friend of mine from Australia. So Julie. Look at this one. Ouija board. This one's about a decade old. I got this one. I was overseas in the States. Picked up from a toy shop. It's brand new. I don't sort of buy too many. I'll just get given to me at some point. This one I bought recently. That was the old glow in the dark Ouija. That's a glow in the dark one. Quite like that. It's quite neat. Just messing up my room again now. A few hours trying to clear my room out for you guys. Something got sent to me. This guy wanted it out of the house. He bought it, thinking that he was going to get into all this paranormal stuff, and then decided to become Christian. Well, I don't know if he decided to become a Christian, but he he saw the light and decided that he couldn't be doing this anymore, so he offered me it. I've got a couple of classic William Fuld Ouija boards. There, a couple of those in the box, another one there, some of those. And what's this one here? Oh, this one here, I like this one. This is from my friends over in Australia. This is from Haunted Down Under. The girls from Haunted Down Under sent me this one. I love it. Very cool. Haunted Down Under. Check these girls out. They're on YouTube. They've got a series. They're actually just releasing their second season soon. They sent me this, which I'm very grateful for. It's a lovely board. It's very well made. And on the back, they even signed it for me. Good on you, Nadine, Celine, Caitlin, and Haley. Love it. So good. Lovely. Nice to get stuff like that in the post. Thanks, guys. We'll be framing all that up. Another old Parker Brothers Ouija. That's from the 1970s, that one. 1972, I believe. The custom made one, which I quite like. Spirit board. You can see that. The lighting's not very good here, sorry. Yeah, but there. This one here, yeah. This one here was made by, this was passed on to me, it was made by Robert Coble from Australia as well. He was in ESP Paranormal, which is Eastern States Paranormal over in Australia. I think they were from Queensland, or maybe I could be wrong there, not too sure. That's a custom made board there. Robert later went on to create Ghost Shack, which was a paranormal equipment supplier. They also did Ouija board type tables and things like that. Number 2, it's great. I love it. I do like handmade sort of Ouija boards. So much more special than the cardboardy Crying Boy paintings or the deep Crying Boys. They've got one coming, hopefully, coming from Dunedin. One of our followers has had some misfortune in her family, and there's a Crying Boy painting there and a few other objects which she's already sent me plans of. I was hoping to meet up with her when I was down in Dunedin recently, but she left out an item for me which was part of the scenario. Apparently there's some poltergeist activity, things happening. There was a clock that got thrown off the wall. A clock that got thrown off the wall, and they blame the Crying Boy painting. A lot of bad things happened in that family. I won't go into it because it's a little bit sensitive, and yeah, I'll respect her. But there was this cat, which I haven't really looked much into. A little cat here. I've wrapped up in a plastic bag to keep it protected. I've seen these before in little sort of Chinese knick-knack shops. Yeah, that sort of sell these. They're quite lifelike. It's a cat, and it's quite nice. It's life size, very lifelike. And you put batteries in it, and you switch it on, and it purrs. And its little chest here rises and falls, and it purrs like it's sleeping, and it's quite eerie. It's quite a creepy thing. Apparently this hadn't worked for about 20 years. When the activity started in the house and the clock flew off the wall, it hit this started purring, and it started breathing and purring and making all sorts of noise. So no batteries in it. It just started working by itself. So she gave me this. I'm still waiting for the Crying Boy painting to come up from Dunedin. That was quite a creepy one. So it does my old Devil's Toy Box. They call it Devil's Toy Box. It's a piece of equipment that I haven't used really much with this team. I used it a couple of times, but it's quite fragile. It's made up of 6 mirrors, 6 square mirrors, and they're made into a cube with the shiny reflective surfaces aimed into each other. So it's basically all the reflective surfaces are inside the box. It's all sealed, and I have contact mics and a little condenser mic inside it, which kind of inside there, and I plug in, and it's supposed to capture all sorts of weird noises and voices and things like that, using light and reflective light and energy and stuff like that to create paranormal. It's a nice idea. I quite like it. There's one of the cameras there. You can see that's one of the cameras there. The other camera is over there by the box. I do sort of move them around from time to time. Sorry, I haven't been looking at the comments. How long have we been going for now? Too long? Okay. Yeah, so we've got numerous things in here. A couple of urns. I've got a couple of urns down there too. See those? Got 2 urns. Passed on to me by a friend of mine. Super heavy. They had ashes in them at some point. And this little thing up here. This is something I made. I created this. It's quite neat. Creating my own little critters. See that? My own little creation. Oh, this little thing over here. This was something I got many years ago. Back in the early 90s. Back in the early 90s, I ran a music shop. I was importing music from around the world. I had a little shop in Karanga Happy Road in Auckland City. We had this person come in, and they brought this in with them because they'd heard that I was a bit of a paranormal researcher and that I was into this kind of stuff. I've got a couple of objects that I traded for music. People that would come in, they'd be a bit short of cash, and they'd say, "Look, I've got this. If you trade this for a CD or a record," and I'd be like, "Yeah, why not?" So I'd help them out, and they'd help me out, and I'd get these cool little knickknacks. This little box, it's completely sealed. It's completely sealed in wax. It's sat in their home for many years, just up on the mantelpiece above the fireplace, and they didn't know what it's for. They found it underneath their house. It was in an old flat in Ponsonby, so they just put it on their mantelpiece. They thought it was quite cool. It was completely sealed in wax when they found it, but they've since opened it up. Now, okay. Inside, there are numerous things. There are bones, quite a few bones and things. There is parts of a bird, parts of bird and maybe rat bones. I'm thinking rat bones. There's a tooth in there which looks like an animal tooth, and there's crystals. Looks like pink quartz. Crystal, that pink crystal, pinky color, and sort of white, just white quartz crystal as well. So I'm not too sure what it was all about. I'm thinking it was some sort of little ritual or some sort of special little. I've been told a few things by numerous people that it was possibly some sort of reincarnation thing. It was maybe like a blessing thing for a pet that had died, perhaps a pet rat or a pet bird or something. But one person said that it could be some sort of reincarnation thing where they put animal parts together in crystals and it regenerates a new creature. I don't really know. But if anybody has any ideas, it was sealed with wax. Unusual little item there. I know my camera keeps panning in there. I know it's the low lighting. It's the low lighting. It sort of tries to. Yeah, I know. Maybe I'll do another one during the daytime. Get some natural lighting in here or something. Good debunking there, Barbara. It's most likely the angle of the camera and the different lighting around. Yes, that's exactly what it is. Very good. Very good. Which doll do you love, Amy? Which one were you talking about? Edwina, was it? I can see you. I can imagine you'd be into Edwina. Does anybody have any questions? That's just a small sampling of some of the many things. I've got boxes. So this is the thing. I really want to get a museum set up so I can take these things out of the boxes and actually display them properly so they can be appreciated and enjoyed by others. Because I think there's a lot of things here that will be enjoyed by people that are not just into the paranormal, but people that appreciate history or just quirky things. And anybody with a heart would appreciate some of the stories that come with these items. Yeah, I quite like being in here. Actually, it's a very peaceful place. I enjoy it when I do a Zoom chat in this room. It's quite peaceful. I need to get a better chair though. I'm just going to swivel the chair at the moment. Amy says I've considered getting my gear out and seeing if I can get any responses in my own house. You should, Amy. You should. You'd be quite surprised. I mean, this house that we're living in is a 1980s house, and we've already seen the crazy cat lady that lives here. Both Sarah and I have seen her 2 different times. We're in the same clothes, so we've both described her. So it's quite interesting what might be in your house. Just got to spend a bit of time and look, see what's out there. Oh, Annabelle. Yeah. We've got a little Annabelle doll. Where is she? Yeah, we had a Raggedy Ann doll. I think she's wandered off, Barbara. I'm not too sure where she is. I think she's gone for a walk, I think. Yeah, man, got a little Chucky there. Got a few Chucky things. I'm a bit of a Child's Play fan. I love horror stuff. If anyone's got any horror props they want to throw my way, I mean, I've got a whole, down in the garage, I've got a whole ton of animatronics and things of ghosts and spectres and grim reapers and all sorts of stuff that we sort of pull out for Halloween events and all that. But doesn't look like there's going to be much happening this Halloween. Hopefully that'll get sorted out. Yeah, so if anybody has any haunted objects or objects that they think might be haunted that they would like to get rid of, or even pass on to a paranormal research team that we can maybe use for our research, we'd be quite grateful. Just pass them our way and we'll use them within our investigations, perhaps as trigger objects, that kind of things. They're always very helpful. Yeah, so hopefully that's given you a little insight into the mysterious haunted room that we have here at Haunted Auckland. It's as I said, it's a bit of a mess. It needs a bit of a tidy up and it needs to be displayed properly. So if anybody can help, please send me a message and we'll set something up. And yeah, send us on. You can find us on Facebook. Just look up Haunted Auckland. Paranormal New Zealand is our website. That's just www.hauntedauckland.com. You'll find Paranormal in New Zealand, which is the Haunted Auckland website. Covers the whole country. And yeah, so I'll catch you guys later. I'm going to bed now. And it's been nice chatting and nice showing around my little weird room. Maybe I'll do a part 2 at some stage and show you a few other things. But yeah, that's it. Thanks a lot, guys, for joining in. Bye-bye. See ya.